Welcome to the Legends Behind the Craft podcast, where we feature top leaders in the wine and craft beverage industry with your host, Drew Hendricks. Now, let's get started with the show.
Drew Thomas Hendricks here. I'm the host of the Legends Behind the Craft podcast, where I talk with leaders in the wine and craft beverage industry. Today's episode is sponsored by Barrels Ahead. You know, at Barrels Ahead, we work with you to implement a one-of-a-kind marketing strategy. We work with wine and craft producers across the United States to find marketing plans that highlight their authenticity, tell their story, and connects them with their ideal customers. In short, we help wineries and craft beverage producers unlock their story to unleash their revenue. Go to barrelsahead.com today to learn more. So today, Bianca Harmon's joining us again. How's it going, Bianca?
Good, Drew. Excited to talk to Thomas and learn all about this Dezo.
Yes, yeah. Today we have Tomas Crowe on the show, co-founder of Dezo. It's the world's first canned superfruit cocktail. And gosh, Thomas's entrepreneurial journey is motivation for anybody who wants to get past their job and create something great. Welcome to the show, Thomas.
Thanks, Drew. Nice to see you again, Bianca. And
Good to see
thanks
you.
for having me.
Oh, thanks for being on. So, Thomas, talk to us a little bit about what Dezo is.
So Dezo is a premium canned cocktail that focuses on using ingredients that have naturally replenishing benefits. The first flavor we launched with was a spiked coconut water with acai berry, Himalayan sea salt, and gluten-free vodka. The second is a spiked watermelon water with cucumber lemon and Himalayan sea salt and gluten-free vodka. And the third is a spiked prickly pear water with lemon, Himalayan sea salt, and gluten-free vodka. So as you can see, we stick to these ingredients that are commonly known to have some hydrating and replenishing benefits, but they're also commonly known ingredients, and we make sure that the drinks taste absolutely amazing.
How did you come up with those, other than being antioxidants? I want to jump into your entrepreneurial journey, but before, I got to know, how did you figure out some of these flavor combinations?
So when we initially had the idea to launch Dezo, it was pre-seltzer. Spiked seltzer wasn't even a thing, really. And my co-founders and I thought that it would be a really good idea to launch a spiked coconut water brand. Coconut water was huge at the time and still is huge at the time. And we honed in on that for 3 to 4 months and then kind of realized as the market opened up that there was an opportunity for an entire category of really clean, healthy canned cocktails. And honestly, they came from, combinations of the CPG products that we were drinking, that we were obsessed with, that we thought had great flavor profiles. One of them was a watermelon water that was out on the market, and another one of those was a prickly pear cactus water. We tried to basically, boozify and make fun our favorite CPG products that were already out there and improve them as well.
Create a better, cleaner version of them.
Exactly.
So let's stepping back for a second. So you did this just shortly after college. Is that correct? Where did you go to college?
Correct. I went to Tulane University in New Orleans, Louisiana, as did one of my co-founders, Tim.
And then after college, you got a job in the insurance industry.
Correct. Yeah.
What was that like?
I had an internship my junior year summer in college at an insurance company called Aon. Great company. And to be honest, I didn't really know what I wanted to do post college except be a CPG entrepreneur, but I knew I didn't think I could just jump into doing that. So once they offered me a full-time job in insurance, I took it because I figured I could do the job well and still kind of moonlight as a CPG entrepreneur.
Not bringing any home. You're not going to bring any work home at night or stress.
Yeah,
you needed a day job.
Exactly. This was a strict 9 to 5 that I was good at, and could do well, and also do my moonlighting as a CPG entrepreneur.
Entrepreneurial tip number 1: find a day job that you can moonlight with. So, but talking about that in college, what excited you about the CPG category?
I think it was specifically beverages in CPG that I was always obsessed with, because I think I've always just been huge into drinks aside from alcoholic drinks. And my whole life, I was always looking for a different type of drink. I always thought with every product I drank, okay, well, you could change this a little bit if you used a little bit less sugar. I think that was a common feedback I would consistently have. And I just found myself always turning the drinks I was drinking from the CPG brands into something else and making my own concoction. So it wasn't really something in college when, we were focused on school and partying that I was worried about, but more just my entire upbringing. And then once we started, living the college life, I think those two things kind of converged when we were, partying, and I still had my obsession with tweaking drinks.
So the key is we've all sat around drinking any type of beverages around whatever party, and we've all said, I could make a so much better version of that. But the thing is, you actually did. How did you get from that dreaming that we all had at many parties to actually activating?
I think it was because for so long, I held it close to my chest that I wanted to be an entrepreneur in this space. Nobody wants other people's energy getting involved in their ideas or making them think they can't do it. So I held it so closely towards my chest. And eventually I finally told one of my good friends in college, Tim Demirjian, and now my co-founder, about this idea that I had after us only drinking vodka sodas in college every single weekend, and all anybody drank because everyone was trying to be lean and healthy, that we should put something similar into a can. And it was because I told him that idea that later on, when he converged with one of his friends growing up from Boston, Marc Kessler, my third co-founder, it was because of me relinquishing this idea that all three of them, all three of us had something similar brewing, and converged on the idea and kind of pushed all of each other to do it. We kind of laid out the skills and tools and the network that we had and realized it was something we could actually do. And it was the three of us pushing each other. So
did you guys start concocting everything in your own homes, or how did you come about with the, I know that how you got the watermelon water and all that, but whatever, all the ingredients in general?
Yeah, we were in Tim and Marc's kitchen, buying products at Ralph's grocery store, using blenders, buying teas, getting, some basic vodka, and going from there. And we did that for months and months and months, while also iterating with a formulation company out of New Jersey.
Okay, that's the key. That's the part that most people, getting it from the kitchen to production, is the hurdle that most people can't get over with. How did you find those connections?
The internet.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, my co-founder Marc just used the internet.
Just did it, called, and figured it out. Now, do you come from a family that's an entrepreneurial background?
I do. Yeah, my dad actually started a radio station and a TV station in the early 2000s. It was a Spanish language, American blended TV station that was big in LA. My mom is not an entrepreneur. She's very much so in the corporate world. And my dad is still an entrepreneur. He's now actually getting into cannabis and all sorts of entrepreneurship that are big in LA.
Well, that's great. I mean, it's so great to have a support network. I was raised in a family that my dad's a doctor, my mom is a foster parent, and not having anybody in my family to understand like an entrepreneurial dream, it always is such a challenge to. No one ever knew what I did because I didn't have an actual job that could be defined. Yeah, so that is a help.
It 100% helps. I think the push was from the entrepreneurial side on my dad, and the pull was from my mom in the corporate world, who said, you better make sure that you're going to sell this freaking drink at grocery stores before you quit your job and start doing it.
Yeah. So going from production to actually selling this drink, how did you find your network of distribution?
Yeah, we actually were working a Saturday night in a nice apartment building in LA that our friend let us work out of. We were working on Dezo stuff, and somebody walked into the boardroom that we were working in. And I guess we had switched rooms up and we were in their room, and it was, someone who was going to play poker in there. And we got to talking. He asked us what we were doing, and it turned out it was, someone who had worked in the wine industry for a very long time, 30 plus years, and worked with the biggest distributor in North America. And we created a relationship with this man, and we ended up, hiring him, and he got us into Southern Wine and Spirits distribution probably a year after that conversation happened.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Wow. But yeah, Dezo, explain the name.
The name Dezo means of the waters in French. the story of the name is a bit all over the place because it was actually the three co-founders' last names put together: Demirjian, Kessler, Crowe, Dezo. And we searched that term on Urban Dictionary, and it had a definition that really resonated with what our brand was, which was adventure, outdoors, and a thirst to get respectfully wild. And we actually trademarked the term respectfully wild, and then realized that Dezo in French actually meant of the waters, and all of our drinks we call them fruit waters. We use coconut water, watermelon water, cactus water.
Well, that's fantastic. How the synergy of that, how it just all fell into place there.
Yeah, it completely fell into place, a bit all over the place, but very much in sync.
Oh, that's great. On the so as you're increasing your distribution, and now you're out there in what, 23 states or so, is what I see on the site.
For online, yeah, we can ship to 23 states, but at a retail level, we're in California, Nevada, Massachusetts, and Florida very shortly.
Now, what was the first date that Dezo was sold commercially?
It was about June 15th, 2020.
Oh my Lord. So really a hockey stick growth trajectory right there, going from where you were then to now. In that growth stage, going back to the initial stage, is there anything you would have done differently?
Yes, absolutely. I think we really wanted to get Dezo everywhere as quickly as possible. And there were ways to do that in which we were willing to put Dezo into hundreds of accounts where we didn't really think about who the consumers at those stores would be. And we ended up putting Dezo into 500 stores, realistically 100 of which would ever actually produce customers for us. It just wasn't the customer base we were looking for, and we didn't think about that at all. I would have rather focused on 20 really good accounts, really good stores, built rapport with the beverage managers, got some really good displays up, and totally honed in on those accounts. And I think we would have done just as much business at those 20 as we did at 500.
That's where that big boots on the ground comes into play, getting out, testing out your market before just flying with it.
Totally agree. I mean, the boots on the ground initially were the three of us. I mean, our distributor had furloughed most of their workforce, so we thought we were going to have huge support from the distributor, but it ended up being us three and our head of sales at the time. And it wasn't until really 2022 that we really started to invest into a really strong sales force and really high quality talent that we've really seen results on specific accounts, and the relationships they're totally booming.
Yeah, like getting that boots on the ground, and then actually targeting the accounts. So with your brand, what would you consider to be like an ideal account?
An ideal account for our brand? Well, currently we do a lot of business. I think there are two answers, because there's an on-premise answer and an off-premise answer. For us, an on-premise location that absolutely will completely crush it is in Los Angeles, an outdoor day bar. 100%, with people that are from 21 to 45 there, day drinking, looking for something refreshing, cold and delicious to drink while they're day drinking. We've seen tons of success in those types of scenarios, sports bars as well. Off-premise, I would say a high-end grocery store where we can really get in there and do some consistent sampling. That it really depends on who the beverage manager at the store is, to put someone that's willing to work with us and build a relationship with us and let us sample and put up point of display in a really higher end grocery store.
What's the typical pushback that you get from beverage managers, like trying to get placement on their shelves?
I think initially, when I was going into grocery stores on a daily basis, it was the amounts, just the volume of ready to drink cocktails or seltzers that were getting pushed to them, that they didn't even have the time to listen to why ours was different or try it. So they just kind of lumped everything all together and was like, we have too many of these. Good luck. Basically, if they didn't want any. If they took it in, you basically had a 2-week timeline to sell it through. And even if you did, sometimes they wouldn't even remember to order it again.
Okay. And then how did you actually give them that aha moment that Dezo was indeed a different category from seltzer, or in the same seltzer category, but something that needed to be on their shelves because it is distinct?
Yeah, I mean, I think the aha moment came from just building brick after brick over time and showing these beverage managers, especially if we were able to secure on a DSD basis. So we just have one store at a time within a chain. If we could get 3 stores within their chain and really get in with the beverage managers and really do well with those, we could obviously, use that as leverage for why we should get into the rest of the accounts.
Now, as far as marketing it and driving that demand for it, I mean, obviously it looks like the perfect day drinking thing. I can't wait to drink this coconut water. I just got it in a store nearby, so I'm picking up some for this weekend.
Amazing.
But I mean, as far as marketing online, what was your channel? Was it Instagram, TikTok? Did you use influencer marketing?
Out the gate, it was Instagram. Now it's TikTok. We're definitely investing more time into TikTok. And we did a lot of advertising on Facebook just to build awareness, a lot of awareness campaigns. Those are pretty much
some music festivals and stuff right now too.
We have, yeah. I think a bigger focus for us in getting consumers' attention and actually driving conversion is all on the ground in person. So we're doing a huge focus on music festival sponsorship, in which we can get tens of thousands of people to see the drink, see it in a cool environment, taste the drink, and also buy it all at once versus pounding people with Instagram or Facebook ads.
Yeah, then they're kind of living the experience at the festival and aligning their brand with something cool.
Exactly, which is a process that could take 6 months in real time if they're seeing an ad, then seeing it in a store, then seeing it at a friend's house, and then eventually buying it.
Yeah, I had a time in my life where I tried to get out of the wine industry for a little while. Obviously, it didn't work very well because here I am back in it. But and I was a brand rep. And so I had like kombuchas and health food snacks, and I was dealing with the store managers, right? And it really, so like hearing you talk about trying to get in, and it was really just building a relationship with these people too, like almost bribing, I felt sometimes, but like to get that display and then just like, and regularly showing up that you were active and at their stores, they were like, okay, this person's not going away. So I guess I will. And coming in and I would like, fix my shelf up and organize, and being proactive with them really went a long ways.
That's so accurate.
Yeah, and I can
100%.
Yeah.
On the buying side. So I was the guy in the store that kept telling everyone that we had way too many of one category. And I can say that the people that got on the shelves were the people that were persistent and actually on a one-to-one level. I just felt like it was easier to do business with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's true because you can actually believe what they're telling you, and it's hard to show up to the same store over and over again. It takes a lot of work and persistence. So a lot of brands don't do it.
For sure. So with 3 founders, there's got to be challenges. We don't need to spill the dirty laundry, but how do the 3 of you stay in sync?
Challenges, yes, of course. I mean, the way the 3 of us stay in sync is every single Monday, no matter what, we do our in-person sync and talk about everything that happened the week before, everything that's going to happen the next week. And, the meeting doesn't really end until everything is covered. It took, honestly, it's hard to get in sync with your co-founders and really find the right rhythm of, having independence from each other and not babysitting and hovering, but also holding each other accountable. And we've found that being consistent with those Monday meetings and really using an organizational management tool online, like we use Asana.
Okay.
Although it seems like babysitting, it's been totally necessary for us. And it keeps yourself accountable to yourself and organized as well.
Yeah, I've had business partners before, and the problem is we were always visionary, and all of our visions never really seemed to go in the same direction. So we spent more time trying to keep the vision united than actually implementing it. Sounds like you've got a good distribution of skill sets and stuff. How would you describe all of your co-founders?
Yeah, I think that Tim, who is my good friend from college. He's a really personable guy and one of the greatest, networkers I've met. And initially, when you have absolutely nothing to show and 3 kids trying to raise millions of dollars with a couple silver cans, you need someone like that. And, he was really the reason we were able to finance Dezo initially. I think Marc is a lot more analytical. He's really good at math and numbers. And he's also, the dreamer of the 3 of us. So he really pushes totally out there ideas that, Tim and I would never think is possible. But I think his optimism has, gotten us a lot further than we ever thought we could go. Well,
yeah, you need a visionary and an implementer. If you ever look at like the EOS company profile. So,
yep, I would agree. I would call myself the implementer.
The implementer. Yeah. See, somebody's actually got to actually do it. So the vision. So the vision of the Dezo. What are your plans?
I think that Dezo is going to become a name brand that, I, don't want to compare to competitors, but the go-to summer canned cocktail brand. And once we capture the warmer summer, spring months and the settings like the day clubs that I was describing, where we absolutely crush it, and the more high-end off-premise grocery stores, we're going to expand Dezo into other spirits and other categories as well that I'm not going to get into.
Sure.
But, basically have the rapport with our consumers that every single product that Dezo comes out with is going to be as healthy as we can get it, is going to have high quality alcohol, and is going to make you feel, better the next day than as if you were to drink our competitors. And once our consumers know that, we're definitely going to expand into other categories in the beverage space.
That's a great vision to guide the brand, and it actually lets it go into like unlimited channels within that drink category. So yeah, I love it. It's not just into this like what you're doing now. It's the fact I love that line, drinking and feeling better the next day. And that's what we all want to do.
Yeah, especially as we get older. And I'm only 26. And I'm starting to feel that way.
Yeah.
It usually starts about 25.
That sounds about right.
Well, I'm 50 and it's still getting worse. So it doesn't stop.
Oh, God.
No, I could have had that last week. We were up on the Russian River for a week, just basically sitting by the banks of the river, paddling a little bit, basically day drinking all day. And I had a bunch of seltzer, but boy, this would have been.
So how many of these could you drink, you think, without where you finally wake up the next morning and you're like, okay, I feel like crap?
We can't make any promises on that front that the TTB would come for us. But what I can tell you is we firmly believe, and according to our anecdotal and some studies that we're actually putting together with one of our investors who is a physician at UCLA, that you feel better than you would feel as if, from a competitor that you were drinking.
Comparatively. So
comparatively better. Exactly.
Well, I always used to tell people, working in the alcohol industry for so long, is like, it's not like the alcohol. I mean, yes, granted, you drink a ton of alcohol, you're going to feel like crap the next day, but it's the sugars and crap that is in your drink is really what makes you feel so crappy the next day. And so if you're drinking some like higher quality and not all these like sugary sweet things, I promise you'll feel better.
I would promise that too. If you drink vodka waters all day, you probably feel pretty good. Now imagine if you add vodka water and coconut water to that.
Yep. That's now you mentioned, I want to shift back to a little bit on the entrepreneur side, that you mentioned you had some investors. And that's a challenging thing, negotiating, a partnership or a buy-in. What advice would you have for other founders that may want to expand through getting investments?
Yeah, I would say it's not going to be easy. If you have 10 people that you're looking to potentially invest in your company, I would try and triple that list, because like everyone says, that you get a lot more no's than yeses. And I would also start, feeling out your pitch initially on some of the potential investors that are not as important, for lack of a better word, and feel out their response and adjust as necessary, because maybe what you're pitching is not the correct parameters, and adjust from there and be super persistent and talk to as many people as possible. Because if one person's not going to invest, who knows? Maybe their friend will, maybe their business partner, maybe a family member. Pretty much our entire investment network has come from a very small group of investors that have been really excited about Dezo and helps us expand from there.
That's great. And so as you're going through all these pitches and you're kind of testing out what works and what doesn't, and you're hearing all those inevitable no's, with each no's comes, but I wish you had this, or I wish you had that, or if you had it structured like this, I'd be an investor. How do you keep your true north in the face of all these people giving you advice of what you should be doing?
I mean, I think you have to have conviction in what you're pitching, and I think you have to want the people investing in your company to have very fruitful outcomes and have success from this investment too. So if you're on your investor's side, which you absolutely should be, unless you're a psycho, you're going to pitch something. You're going to pitch something that makes sense for them as an investor, as well as makes sense for your company.
Very good advice.
And stick with it.
That's very good. So as we're I got so much going. So the insurance to transfer to Dezo, and then you're expanding. What if you didn't do Dezo, what would you have done?
I mean, I think I was so obsessive about being a CPG entrepreneur. I probably would have started like a health food snack brand. I think somehow I would have come to that, or I would have done something like selling something really easy online with Shopify. Now I'm pretty good with Shopify. I'd probably be selling t-shirts or something. It might have been in the reverse order. So I probably would have started by selling something really simple, that's easy to advertise online, like t-shirts, and eventually getting into some type of CPG.
That's the amazing part of your story that I'm fascinated by, because too often I interview entrepreneurs and they do the Shopify route, they do the t-shirts, or they do some small thing, and then eventually they get to their dream of doing a canned CPG. It's just so amazing that you were able to transition straight into it.
It was pure ignorance. It really was. I think we had no idea what we were getting into. And we were incredibly ambitious, and we didn't think about the steps in the middle. But we attacked, every obstacle as it came.
And it was
3 years later.
All through the pandemic.
All through the pandemic. Yeah. We really were supposed to launch in March of 2020, which is when everything shut down. And we pushed that to June and shifted to an online strategy. And that was when we learned how to use Shopify. We didn't even know until then. In
hindsight, do you think that helped you?
I absolutely do. Yeah. I think we learned the Shopify and e-com side of things when we needed to. And it gave us time to slowly, work out how we need to do this on the ground from a sales perspective and what types of stores we need. And now we're able to do both, and we know both.
Yeah, that's been a common theme. As terrible as the pandemic's been, and as challenging as it has been to businesses, those that rose through it and actually were founded right at the start of it, pretty much all the founders say that it was actually a blessing in disguise for them. It gave them opportunities that they might not have had when everything was shifted around.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, I have no idea where we'd be at without the pandemic. We could have launched the biggest distributor in North America, and it could have gone well, but I think the lessons were invaluable, and where we are right now, we're so prepared for anything that comes.
When you're choosing your products when you're choosing what you're making your Dezo drinks with, I mean, how do you go about choosing the products that you're using for them, for the actual drink?
The specific ingredients, like what the fruit is. I mean, it's kind of like a 2-step process where we weigh how many replenishing components does this ingredient have? How well known is it to consumers? And then there's actually a third, which is how good does it taste? Can we make a good cocktail out of it? There are more now that I'm thinking about it.
Right.
How readily available is this ingredient logistically? How do you need to store it, etc.? I work on all of our production, so I have to think about those things.
Is there a shelf life then on your product because it is watermelon and coconut, or
There is. Yeah, we take no shortcuts in producing Dezo. It's all natural ingredients that have to be handled very delicately, and there are no artificial preservatives either. So there is a shelf life. It's 1 year. It's totally safe to drink after that 1 year period, but the natural ingredients just start to lose their flavor a little bit.
Yeah,
that makes sense. And are they sparkling?
They are sparkling.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm
Thanks
really
for
wanting
asking.
to try
I should have
these.
clarified that.
Yeah, no, that's good. Because when I look at, I couldn't, because you think coconut water and it's just still, and you think watermelon water and it's still, because I drink both of those every single day. So yeah, they're my favorite. I actually have started making my own watermelon water at home.
Oh, it's the best.
It's so much better than buying just water, like watermelon water from the shelves. So, but then I was like, wow, if they're sparkling, that makes it even better.
You're gonna have to try Dezo like this.
I know.
What percentage of your sales are online?
A much smaller percentage, probably around 10, I would say. And we want to build into that. I just think since we learned how to do it and learned how to, effectively allocate resources towards it, we've always had it and we use it strategically. But we really focus on, for us, the big home run is on the ground retail marketing.
That's the 3-tier.
The 3-tier system, which we have to use. But yeah, I still think that e-commerce for alcohol is very nascent, and there are a lot of tweaks to work out. And I don't think you're going to be able to set up, some Smile Direct Club crazy model immediately
for your brand. Because I mean, wine clubs and stuff, they've got sort of that. You get your wine every month, or your subscription systems.
Totally agree. Yeah, I should specify that for spirits, and especially something like beer or seltzer or canned cocktails, where people, especially in my generation, want it now. And that's not what any of the service providers can really provide unless you're ordering through something like GoPuff or Drizzly, which are fantastic. But you're not able to market the same way you can directly from your website using a fulfillment company like we use.
Okay. Oh, so you would, if you had to set up like a subscription model, it would have to go through the fulfillment company because you're actually producing a spirit.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Versus a winery can sell directly, and it makes the subscription model a little bit easier.
Absolutely. Yeah. We can't sell direct. It still has to go through a retailer who ships it out, who we, don't really have any contact with.
Okay. And you use Drizzly for that?
No, Drizzly is actually for on-demand immediate delivery.
Oh, that's
right.
That's right.
Yeah, they're like Uber.
You can order alcohol and they'll bring it to your door in like 2 hours.
Yeah. We use a company called ExcelPay. I can just give them the plug.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's all the other companies looking for the same thing. They're not going to cut into your business, but they could probably use a tip.
There you go.
Well, now here's the thing. You're incredibly driven. You're expanding all across the nation directly and in California right now in stores. How do you stay motivated to just keep pushing forward?
I think we stay focused on the small wins, and we download our VIP reports every week, which are the reports we get from the retailers. And we see how much we're growing every month, and it's exciting. And, we really are starting to see some of the fruits of our labor. So just celebrating those small wins week after week on our Monday meetings.
That would be, I mean, that's exactly when we're into the growth time, it's easy to stay motivated. But personally for yourself, how do you stay motivated when maybe the week's not going the way you want?
Right. And there have been a lot of weeks like that. I stick to my schedule, and, the cheesy thing to say is you have to, really believe in your dream and your product, but you absolutely do, or you will be unmotivated. And, I go to bed early. I wake up early. I get my workouts in. I do my meetings with my co-founders, and I make sure that I never fall off my strict schedule and just stay motivated through consistency.
I really like the way you said that, because motivation only works so much. Most of the time, you just have to put your head down, whether you're motivated or not. and just excel your vision. I'm reading this David Goggins book, Can't Hurt Me, and he's all talking about how motivation is crap. So I was liking the way you said that.
I've heard a lot of David Goggins. That's definitely inspired that motto for me, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, gosh, this has been fantastic talking to you. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to talk to people about?
I think I should let everyone know that we are fundraising currently.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So Dezo is absolutely fundraising, and anyone listening to this should reach out to me at thomas@vitalizeholdings.com.
Thomas,
if you want to talk about, I don't know how much into the details we should go on this, but I definitely wanted to just make it known that we're fundraising, and we should be closing the rounds in the end of October latest.
Okay, great. So if you're looking to invest in a alcoholic water company that makes you feel better the next day, or is comparatively better than if you took some wrong choices the night before,
comparatively,
Dezo is a choice, and they should reach out to you directly.
Absolutely.
That's great. And where can the consumer find out more about your brand and purchase Dezo?
They can find out more on our website, drinkdezo.com, at our Instagram, @drinkdezo, our TikTok, drinkdezo. I would say those are the 3 best places to go.
Awesome, Thomas. It's been fantastic talking to you.
Great talking to you too.
Greatly admire how much you've done. Thank you.
Thanks, Thomas.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Legends Behind the Craft podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.